more with some more Street Fighter 6. The beta has officially ended, so the long wait begins. I guess I'll use this video to talk about how I felt about this beta. And I do want to say, this gameplay was taken on the first day of the beta, right? I think I have a little over 2 weeks of footage recorded, so obviously, I'm gonna be better by the time you see that footage. I'm gonna, the more videos I have, the more I get better, right? This is just the beginning of me playing, and you'll see. So, if you're like, wow, why aren't you doing this? This footage isn't from the last day of the beta. This is from the first, like, hour of me playing the beta. So, you'll see as time goes on. I'll get better. So, anyways, I can't lie. If you saw how I felt about the first beta, I was like 100% positive about the whole thing. But I can't lie. I think this beta gave me a lot more concerns for the game than I had last time. And maybe it's because, for me personally, right? Don't get me wrong. It's hype to play the game again, right? But there was nothing new in this beta at all. So I wasn't really hyped about playing the game. I mean, I was, of course, but it wasn't like, you know, the last beta, you're playing the game for the very first time. Well, this beta was the exact same as the last beta. Maybe there were some minor gameplay improvements, but in terms of content, absolutely nothing new was added, right? Which is fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying that allowed me to focus on gameplay things a lot more, and I paid attention a lot more. And pretty much what my conclusion is that this game is the hardest Street Fighter game. And I think it's very hard to disagree with that. And if you do disagree with that, you either haven't played enough or you didn't have access to the beta, right? Because here's the thing, right? Sure, you could say Third Strike has harder combos, right? Of course, a game like Third Strike has way harder combos, right? Shorter combos for the most part, but harder combos. That's not the problem. I'm not talking about the execution here, right? I'm just talking about things you need to know. Spoiler alert, I played Ken the most in this beta. So actually, in the first beta, I said I was going to play Ken. I ended up not liking Ken at all. In this beta, right, I was like, I'm not going to play Ken because I didn't like him in the first beta. I ended up playing Ken the most, right? I had about 6 or 7 hours on Ken. And Ken is probably the hardest character in the game, maybe besides Chun-Li, maybe. But yeah, Ken's probably the hardest character in the game. So, in my experience of playing him, I was able to see how this game is, right? Because in the last beta, I only played Ryu and Jamie, right? And those characters not only are really good, they're a lot simpler than Ken. Because, you know, Ryu is Ryu, right? His neutral is simple. Even though he has crazy combos in this game, his neutral is simple. And Jamie has a lot of cancelable normals and a lot of multi-hitting attacks. And this really raises my first problem, right? So, this goes away, obviously, right? But when you first start playing a character like Ken, right? You have to realize how easy it is to just get out of Ken's pressure, right? So, if you don't know, Ken has records in this game, right? He has a kick, right, that leads into an overhead or a low, right? You can do other stuff, but mainly in a block string, you either do the overhead or the low, right? It's quarter circle forward kick. That's the input, right? And you're like, wow, I can really mix people up with this, right? So when I first started using the move, I used it as like a mix tool. So I actually have a clip, which you might see in one of these videos, right? When I first start using Ken, right, I mash the Rekka move, right? So I do Rekka low, Rekka high, Rekka low, Rekka high. And the guy gets hit by all of them, right? And I'm like, wow, Ken is really crazy in this game. And then the next game, I do the same thing, and I realized just how bad it is, right? So if you press drive impact during any of his Rekkas, the move is so long that the drive impact guarantees always hits Ken. And that's one of the things I noticed about this game, right? And this is why I think this game is so hard, is because you literally have to change the way you play your character every single match, which is something you never had to do before. Like, you have to make sure, oh, I'm gonna run up on this guy, right? But if you do a move that's not cancelable, you could literally be killing yourself. Like, it could be your turn fair and square, but this guy decided to press drive impact and you just opened up with a move that's not cancelable, you just die. And I noticed that a lot on Ken, because Ken doesn't, like, all of Ken's special moves are interruptible, right? Well, most of them, like 75% of his special moves are interruptible. So if you're doing special moves in a block string and they just throw out drive impact, he just explodes and dies. And only his crouching normals and his, like, medium and standing heavy are cancelable. His crouching light kick isn't cancelable, like most characters, but yeah, he has, like, not a, like, it's bad, because you're like, oh, if you want to do a forward roundhouse, right, his, like, big kick, you can't. Because it's not cancelable, and if they decide to drive impact that, like, if you're throwing that out to poke with, and they drive impact that, literally just died. And that was really frustrating. And it makes the game feel incredibly scrubby, right? Because you're just throwing out moves, you know, even it can be 100% your turn, and you're just throwing out moves, and they just they just mash drive impact, and the moves either aren't cancelable or they take so long that you get hit by a drive impact. And this is a very, very huge problem with learning Ken. Like, when you start out with Ken, you will notice this a lot. And it feels bad, right? Like, you're like, this game sucks, this is stupid. But you kind of learn to realize it's not that stupid. It's actually kind of fun, right? How different you have to play your character, right? The problem is that learning it is one of the most infuriating things I've ever seen, right? It's just bad. Because at low level, like most fighting games, but especially this game, you can just throw drive impact out, and it'll win. It'll win 95% of the time. Because if you're just learning a character, chances are you aren't just gonna run up to someone and do a block string filled with cancelable normals and no special moves. But that's what you have to do. At least with a guy that masters drive impact or knows that these moves aren't safe at all, that's what you gotta do. But because of that, right, it scares me. Because, in my honest opinion, I think Ken is worse than Kimberly, Ryu, Jamie, and Guile. Right, let me think. Who was in the beta? Yeah, I think Ken is worse than all those characters. And that scares me because if you don't know, Guile in this game is not even fair, right? Guile is near unbeatable. So, my problem with this game is, how bad is the tier difference gonna be? Like, is this game gonna be like, oh, if you don't play this character, you don't stand a chance competitively, right? And that's why I've been concerned, and I even posted about this on Twitter, like my experience was kind of negative because this game is perfectly fine, right? But when I talk about this, when I think about this stuff competitively, it scares me because Guile is a completely different being in this game, right? So, how bad is the tier difference going to be between characters, right? That's what I'm worried about. Because of course, every game's going to have characters that are worse and that are better than others. But trying to use Ken against Guile was just it was a task, alright? And I probably wasn't even fighting that good of a Guile, you know? Imagine fighting a guy who's been playing Guile for like a month straight without stopping. Like, it would be over. And who knows? In the full version of the game, there might be a character even crazier than Guile. And that's what scares me, because there are characters that I want to play that are not in the beta. However, I mean, it's gonna take a lot for those characters to even be able to compete with this version of Guile. And, you know, DJ looks crazy too, so is DJ gonna be the best character in the game? And, like, funny enough, there is a character that gets rid of some of my complaints, personally. Well, it's not a complaint, it's more just the learning curve. And that's Marissa, the character that I was literally going to main the moment I saw her. She can actually break through armor. She can break through drive impact. So, are characters gonna have gimmicks like that? Where they can kind of like get around certain mechanics? Because no characters really had that in this beta. So, you know, maybe that'll make Marissa really good. But who knows? Like, right now Guile needs to be stopped, alright? Like, Guile is a problem. And it definitely makes it concerning because I think Guile is an incredibly boring character. I used to be a Guile main, okay? But I think he's incredibly boring. I don't like him. And you're telling me that when this game comes out, and if I want to play this game competitively, and I probably do want to play this game competitively, then I'm going to have to play Guile. Because when I play competitively, I don't care if I like my character or not, right? My character has to be competitively viable, right? Right now, in the beta, this is the beta, I feel like playing Ken competitively will just require you to do more work than other characters. So playing Ken competitively is not an option for me. I'll probably play him non-competitively, right? But you have to, like, when you want to see success, you have to use certain characters, right? That's the same in every fighting game. But the problem is that are they going to do something to change that, or are they going to pull Guilty Gear Strive and ruin the meta for 26 years and then change it? Because we have a beta. The game comes out in 6 months. They have a chance to fix the meta because give people 2 months with this game, this current version of the game, and Guile will be completely unbeatable. So we'll just have to see how they handle that. Anyways, yeah. You know, like, subscribe. I'm gonna probably have Guilty Gear Strive tomorrow, and then we're gonna go back to Street Fighter 6. So yeah. See.
Real wins. Hate that I do this.
never feel loose. And when I get up in the game, yeah, I'll be improved. A real problem, but I solve them all facts proof. And if you think I'm gon' fold, then you talking fool. Yeah, y'all wanna win, let me spin, boy. All dunks aside, I'm super fly like I'm hanging off the rim, boy. I've been winning for my kinfolk, and I put on for my city from the intro. Let's go.
I put that time in. My pride is out the roof, I get that grind in. So I'ma tell the truth, I get my grind on. You know the pressure make all of these diamonds. I tell them get back, step back, fast track, big lap, big facts. I'm past that, yeah. I'm tryna get ahead, get out the way. Now move forward, stand back, now break away. I'm about to bring it on. I ain't never backing down. Come and step up to the plate. For my city, for my town. I do whatever it takes. I'ma go and get this round. Oh, I'ma go all of the round. See the sights, yeah. Hop out and I'm scheming, ride around and I'm dreaming. Once I get the feeling, nobody can stop me. Hit it, I'm on gold, fending all you foes. Once I'm on the road, I'm knocking out of the door. I got the range, if you wanna come and stand up to me, pull up on me now. If you wanna challenge, tell me rookie, run up on me now. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back.